So I want to pick up where I kind of left off on the last one, as far as people who are not black saying that they're blacker than me. Unfortunately, that also exists, and I didn't want to leave this out. I'd be remiss if I did. That exists almost more within the black community, as far as my experience. So it's a different set of ignorances, although we've been all, again, lied to historically. And in a lot of ways, I don't want to excuse it for the black culture, but I know through the history of what we're fighting through, as far as just the hamstringing, the conditioning, the mindset that has been beaten into us, as far as being separated and not being able to come together, and all of these things over the years. It does have a part to do with how things were as I was growing up, and even where we're at today, as far as the ability to still just not be able to completely unify. The sad part is you don't generally see this. Like, I don't know, do you see this in other groups? Hey, between people in wheelchairs, hey, I'm more crippled than you. I guess that might be a weird example, because somebody might actually be disabled from the neck down, or somebody might be disabled from the waist down, but still, why is this a contest? Because in the black culture, we suffer the same. Again, my example before with somebody who was white was, let's just stand there and see how we're treated by racist, or by aggressive police, or whatever, job applicants, looking for, who don't want to hire. It's the same. Just because this sounds different, I get it all the time. Oh, Mr. White voice, got it, got it. But now, what is that saying about how we deem intelligence with the way we see color? Because when they say I speak white, it's you speak proper, or you talk with big words, or this or that. There are plenty of black people, brilliant, who don't sound like I do, and who have used many of the same words, if not bigger and deeper words than I use. So we have to, one, scrape away the ideology that somehow white equates to more intelligence. Even speaking that way somehow speaks to less blackness. It's ridiculous. And in this day and age, this is not just an ignorance, it's delving into a woeful ignorance. I know that a lot of people still grow up where they grow up, and so they don't see it, or they're not exposed to it, but we know the struggle. Let's say you grow up in, the hood, middle class, and high end. We've seen examples of all three of these areas of people being exposed to racism. And do we want to call it racism? Okay, yeah, let's call it racism. And I'm just going to say, like, the driving while black. You see it, in lower areas, lower poverty areas, people getting pulled over. They're making shows like Cops about it. Then middle class, I've experienced that firsthand. And then in the high end area in Scottsdale, North Scottsdale, they had what was called the NNZ. And this is not, just for the city of Scottsdale. This is for very affluent areas in any town, any state, city. The NNZ, it may not be called that, but it's the no Negro zone. And you are pulled over and questioned thoroughly as to what you were doing there, because you don't have a place there, basically. Now, this was brought to light years ago, because high-profile athletes coming to Scottsdale, in the NBA, NFL, whatever, were being celebrities, were being pulled over and given this same treatment by the Scottsdale police. So, lower class, middle class, upper class. It happens. It happens across the board. So the nerve of somebody on any one of those to turn to another person who is bound to experience, or has experienced the same, to say, I'm blacker than you, is stupid. Because of the liquor you drink, because of the weed you smoke, because I eat kale and you want, fried chicken, whatever. It's stupid. It's stupid, because, and it's worse, because within our own demographic, we know what it is to watch people go off to prison, to the grave. We know what it is to live with cultural expectations that aren't uplifting. They expect us to fail. And in many places, and along the way, they put these tools in place for us to fail. Redlining, environmental racism, scientific racism, all of these things have been put in place. So to say to somebody else who, if you've lived past the age of 3, you've most likely experienced some sort of racism as a person of color. I know this because I did. I know it because my children have. And anybody who's honest with themselves will say, yeah, I know that I got called, something on the playground by such and such. Or now I understand what that person's parent meant when they said something, about their friend being me. So the nerve. It's crazy. It's crazy. But this is the separation. And this large in part is why so many other groups look and say, well, if they can't get along with each other or won't pay each other that respect, then why should I? It's a little bit of a different topic, but nobody's blacker than anybody. It's like saying somebody is more male. Look, just because you can chop wood or, you earn more things, it's genetically, we just are what we are. And it doesn't mean being taller, bigger, faster, any of those things, having more women is conquest, none of those things. It doesn't mean that. It's disappointing, but it's something to talk to, and I didn't want to leave the last topic just as, well, it's just, a thing with white people, trying to appropriate themselves into, a culture that, is not of them. It happens within the culture, and that's the more disturbing angle. And I hope a lot of people who may see this, whether you're outside the culture or inside of the culture, understand what this looks like, what this means. I guess I'll leave it at that. I feel like I have more examples, but I don't think I need to beat a dead horse with this one. We just have to do better on both sides. But again, there's an ignorance and the fake news, whatever we want to call it, as far as what we are taught historically, and giving ourselves the ability to see self-worth in ourselves and then within each other, whether it's black and black, whether it's black to white, what have you. We have to start learning more. And I will double down and say we are at the day and age where we have so much information in the palm of our hands. What you're watching me through right now, most likely your phones, has enough information for you to reach out. And again, if you don't have the sources or you don't believe what you're reading, then ask people. Ask the people around you. And if you don't have enough people to ask, then maybe that speaks to how tiny your bubble is. And again, it's not a disrespect when I say that, it's just true. Sometimes we have to pop that bubble and expand beyond and reach out and start learning new things and meeting new people. And that way we have a greater understanding by diversifying, just like you would your financial portfolio or anything else, or your job description listing when you're going for that new job. You list as many different things and make it as complex as possible. Do that with the people that you know. Start meeting new people, start meeting new places, start putting yourself in different areas. Ask questions, because people want to be able to have teachable moments and share. And when you see somebody who is different than you, asking those questions in a genuine fashion, that's the most important part, in a genuine fashion. Not, well, how come you guys always do this or that? No, find the right words to ask a genuine question, and you'll get genuine answers. And if you don't, then that person's not ready to teach. And just like a lot of us aren't ready to learn some things, some truths, either about ourselves or the world around us. So again, I'm going to stop being long-winded, but guys, hopefully this makes sense. But nobody is anything more than anything. We're all humans. We're all peace. Woo! I thought I'd make it through without my phone falling. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.